ذنبي عظيم ذنبي عظيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be with you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa tabi'ina lahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah. And may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His Prophet Muhammad, his family, his companions, and all of his followers until the day of resurrection. I welcome you to this new episode of our series, Human Rights, a Muslim Perspective. Let me emphasize that what I said in this series is basically my own, and of course, that's how I understand being someone who works in the fields of human rights, understand things according to the Islamic perspective. And I will address today the issue of guarantees under the Islamic system where the human rights will be applied, because you can never see any guarantee, no force whatsoever was made when these declarations of human rights were made by even the United Nations. It was left to countries to do their own, to select whatever they want in this field. But the most important thing is, when we are addressing this, we need to apply a very fair and strong and qualified judicial system. That is the way to guarantee that these human rights are protected. For example, look at the saying of one of the scholars of Islam, Al-Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah. What he said, أمور الناس تستقيم في الدنيا مع العدل. He said the matters of people will be straight in this life by justice. ولهذا قيل إن الله يقيم الدولة العادلة ولو كانت كافرة. That's why it was said that Allah will maintain a just state even if that is disbelieving state, a state that was not based on Islam or not ruled by Muslims. وَلَا يُقِيمُ الدَّوْلَةَ الظَّالِمَةَ وَإِنْ كَانَتْ مُسْلِمَةً. And that Allah will not maintain a state that is unjust, even if it is a Muslim state. It is so important that we emphasize the concept of justice. And justice in Islam is absolute. You have to be just with yourself, just with your own relatives, just with your own interest, even if it goes against your own interests, against the interest of the relatives, against the interest of people in authority, or people that you think you're supporting, your own kinfolk, and so on and so forth. This has in no way any possibility for violating justice. And that's what was emphasized by the saying of this great scholar of Islam, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. He mentioned this, and it was said after him. So many people repeated this, that even a Muslim state which is unjust will be subject to the destruction of Allah. Allah will replace it with another state, because it will not maintain the rulership. This rulership will not be maintained. We can see real examples of this nowadays and in the past, because if people step on the rights of others, if they practice injustice, if they go against the rights of people, if they transgress, if they are indeed ruling people by the sword and the stick and not by justice, then obviously we can see that they will not live for long. And we've seen many systems change in particular countries because of this. So unless people get away from this concept of police state into states run by justice, by mercy, by kindness, by acceptance of people, spreading this inside countries, that will lead into the respect of the rights of people, based first on education, conviction, and faith in Allah's reward and punishment in this regard, and again by a very strict judicial system that follows justice and is respectable because of justice. If that is maintained, we can see the prolonging of its life. As we can see also real examples of countries which apply justice, which are not Muslims, but they have been in rule for centuries because, again, of applying justice. And Muslim countries which were ruled by unjust rulers, and they were driven out from their own positions in a short time. In the hadith, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُقَدِّسُ أُمَّةً لَا يُقَدْرُ الضَّعِيفِ فِيهَا حَقُّهُ. Allah does not put any value or great respect for any nation that does not take for the weak his own right. Yes, indeed. Allah will not have any value, will not have no respect for a nation that has this. And that's why the state has to maintain this. Any state would have to support a judicial system and to make it free. Do not charge people. Unfortunately nowadays, if you want to have a good lawyer, you have to have lots of money. And that is a problem, because if I have a right and I don't know how to present it and how to do it within this very complicated system of the due process of the law, then I am at disadvantage. Law has to be free, has to be open to all people. The state has to bear all the costs of this, because it's no less than other rights of people, such as health, security, and education. All of these are important, equally important in a judicial system that is fair and free for everyone. If anyone who's not able to pay any dues for lawyers and barristers and what have you, then the state has to hire one for them who is qualified and even takes the case strongly, because against anyone stepping on the rights of another person. The problem is that even those who are transgressing would have their own lawyers, and that is a problem. That's where the consciousness of lawyers comes. These lawyers have to be very aware of their responsibility towards Allah and towards people. They cannot defend anyone who has a lost case or wrong case. They shall advise a person who comes to them and says, I need you to support me to get such and such. If they have no right, you shall not stand by their side. This is as simple as this. In the hadith, which is hadith Qudsi, إِنَّ الْمُقْسِطِينَ عَلَى مَنَابِرَ مِن نُورٍ عَنْ يَمِينِ الرَّحْمَنِ وَكِلْتَا يَدَيْهِ يَمِينَ الَّذِينَ يَعْدِلُونَ فِي حُكْمِهِمْ وَأَهْلِهِمْ وَمَا وُلُّوا. Look at this beautiful hadith. Because in the hadith, those who are just will be on pulpits made from light, meaning higher places made from light, and they will be to the right of Ar-Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And both of his hands are right, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should be careful here, because the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are not like our hands or the hands of any creature. We cannot know how are Allah's hands subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do they look like? What is their size, and so on. We cannot do this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like any of us. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There's none unto like him. So that is important, but that means a respect for them. And look, because of their justice, they would be so much high on the day of judgment, besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, الَّذِينَ يَعْدِلُونَ, because they are just in their rule, فِي حُكْمِهِمْ وَأَهْلِهِمْ, and even among their own family members and kinfolks, وَمَا وُلُّوا, and whatever responsibilities they were given. They will all be truthful and honest and fair in whatever they do. So the justice is always their own tradition and their own way of life. That's why they deserve this respect and deserve this status on the Day of Judgment. So justice has to be done for everyone, which would be including Muslims and non-Muslims, all together, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. There is no difference. Justice under the law of Allah and the Sharia has to be practiced, regardless who the person is standing there, as we explained earlier in an example of Al-Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu sitting with a Jew under the Islamic State before the Qadi Shuraih. They stood together in front of the law. There was no difference between the commander of the believers and one of the people under the Islamic State who was not a Muslim. He was a Jew at the time. And Shuraih, the judge, gave the judgment for this Jew against Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Although Ali ibn Abi Talib at the end had the right, but he could not prove it, and therefore in front of the law you are going to lose if you don't have any evidence in your hands. And you cannot bring a witness from your own household, like your family or your son or your servant and so on, because they would have an interest in supporting you. Look at the fairness. This is all because they were seeking justice and they were fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to transgress against His commands. I'll have more to close on the subject after this short break, so please stay with us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother in Islam, Mamdouh Muhammad. You're watching Peace TV, the solution for humanity.
In these times of ignorance and confusion, we have never been more in need of holding on firmly to our Islamic belief.
What is Islam? What is Islam?
Those simple things that define you as a Muslim, and teaching them to our families and our children. Join me, Muhammad Tim Humble, as we go back to basics in the basics of a Muslim's belief.
Polish your personality in the light of divine wisdom to live like a true Muslim in The Basics of a Muslim's Belief. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and repeat telecast at 12 p.m. UK on Peace TV.
Where truth is hidden and misleading quotations create confusion. Where truth is hidden, lack of knowledge and wisdom cause upheaval and commotion. Where truth is hidden, manipulated scriptures and twisted facts emerge. This very hidden truth creates false propaganda, mayhem, chaos, disorder, and turmoil in our lives and the world order. But is there anyone with courage and wisdom? What is the truth, and who has the courage to expose it? Because it's the right to know the truth.
Watch Truth Prevail and Lies Perish in Truth Exposed by Dr. Zakir Naik. Tonight at 9 p.m. and repeat telecast at 7:30 a.m. UK on Peace TV. Daud warns Biali.
Hey kids, time is very precious.
This life is a gift from Allah.
Utilize this gift for here and hereafter.
Enjoy this gift in the light of the Quran and Hadith.
Enjoy Islam with us, Zain and Dawood.
Enjoying Islam with Zain and Daud, next on Peace TV. Marriage or divorce?
What's Islamic ruling?
Nikah.
Solution or problem? Heaven or hell?
There is a misconception.
You choose. Beauty, wealth, family status, virtue. Decide what you want. Decide your choice. Be sad or be happy. It's your choice. Join Dr. Zakir Naik in Better Half or Bitter Half every Friday at 6:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 9:30 a.m. UK on Peace TV.
Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. Welcome back. I need to end with the last parts of the guarantees in terms of the importance of putting human rights to execution, to execute them in reality, and to put them in the field and not to keep them as a lofty idea up in the sky. And unless we do this, we will not have any ability to do so. Yes, some of the non-Muslim countries have applied these guarantees and have been winning and have been gaining, in fact, solid grounds in maintaining their being, because they have applied these rules of justice which are emphasized by Islam. Look at what Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu said in a writing to his own people. He said, ما أرسلتكم لتضربوا أبشار الناس والله لا أوتى بعامل ضرب أبشار الناس من غير حد إلا اقتصصت منه. I have not sent you to strike people on their backs or sides, meaning to hit their skins with sticks or to make them fearful. I swear by Allah that if I would be brought one of you, anyone working for the state, who has hit the skin of anyone, meaning among people, without a penalty required by Sharia, which is a had, except that I will, in fact, take the right of this person from him. I'm the one to apply this, because you are supposed to rule people and to be just with them under the teachings of Islam, but if you do not do so, I will have, as the head of state, I would have to apply this. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu was very known for his justice, also said the following in his own judicial message, which he sent to his own governors in various areas of the Islamic State. He said, you'd have to be fair and equal between the people who are standing before you seeking justice. In your own sitting, وَفِي وَجْهِكَ, in your looking at them and expressing your own words to them, وَقَضَائِكَ, and even when you pass the judgment, it would have to be fair and equal. حَتَّى لَا يَطْمَعَ شَرِيفٌ فِي حَيْفِكَ. So a noble person will not have any interest or probably have a wish that you would turn to him. وَلَا يَيْأَسَ ضَعِيفٌ مِنْ عَدْلِكَ. And a weak will not be desperate of your justice. So even the way you look, the way you sit, how you conduct yourself, you have to be very fair. Look at this extent of seeking justice and the directions the governor of the Khalifa of Muslims is giving to his own governors. So we know that everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and anyone claiming to have something done would have to bring in an evidence. If they are the plaintiffs, if they are the plaintiff, they would have to prove this point in front of the judge. And if they are the defendant, if they don't have the evidence, they could only have a testimony or oath that they are telling the truth, and therefore they will be saved if the plaintiff did not present the evidence. That's why it is so important that even hudud, which are the penalties according to the Sharia, will not be applied unless supported by strong evidence which is in the Sharia itself. For example, committing zina or adultery or fornication has to be either admitted by the person who committed this, or we'd have to have 4 witnesses testifying that they have seen exactly, not only, for example, a man on top of a woman, but they go beyond that into seeing the actual intercourse taking place. Unless they give the testimony to that, the fact that they would be in the same place, the same room, in the same bed together, still is not enough to give the evidence that they have committed zina, fornication, or adultery. That's why the hudud, or the penalties, are guarded by doubts. Al-hududu madru'atun bish-shubuhat. That's why it's so important in the Islamic system to guard against the stepping over the human rights of others. Look, even the rights of the accused. People who are being accused shall not in any way have their own admission taken, or statements, or the agreement that they've done or committed this wrongdoing by force, by coercion, by harassment, by compulsion, by any means of getting this taken from them without their full consent and full agreement, under no pressure, when they're fully sane and they understand exactly what they were saying. This is important, and this is the opinion of the majority of scholars, although there have been some scholars who said that yes, you can sometimes get the admission of committing a crime from some bad people, bad criminals, by force, because they will not say it unless you put some pressure on them. But the majority of scholars are saying, no, this cannot be, because you are stepping on the just due process of the law, which is not right. One other point is that, for example, you cannot take someone by the crime of another. You cannot have this accusation of, for example, family relatives, because someone within the family has committed wrongdoing. Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. No one shall carry the sin of another, because we are all responsible for our affairs as individuals. Look at the Sharia, what it says in regards to the protection of the witnesses. Because, again, as we said that in regards to the accused, then we are saying the same thing regarding the witnesses. There shall not be any pressure, any coercion, any harassment, any harm done to the witnesses in any case. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا يُضَرَّ كَاتِبٌ وَلَا شَهِيدٌ. And there shall be no harm put on the scribe or the witness. So a witness shall be left free to speak his consciousness, and he's responsible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether he says the truth or not. But this is important. We shall not have any doubt in the testimony of witnesses unless we do have a reason, a strong reason or evidence that they may be lying. We can do any checks, any cross-examination, any test of lying, and to do all these things in order to make sure that, yes, that we have a true and genuine witness, but shall not in any way be forced or put any harassment or pressure on them to give their testimonies. What I'm going to conclude with is that the protection and care given to human rights shall be a way of life, and we shall maintain the human rights respect throughout the process of the law. Even when someone has been proven guilty and we are executing the penalty against this person, they still be protected, and other rights on him shall not be violated, such as his wealth, his house or place of residence, his own family. In fact, the Muslim state is supposed to support his family while he's in prison or put to some kind of punishment. Even when a person is put to death as a fair penalty for what he committed, still we need to treat him well in terms of giving him the opportunity to know why we did so, and that he shall be given a notice ahead of time before the execution of this penalty. And even when this person has been executed, then he's entitled to his own way of being treated as a Muslim, as a dead Muslim. He shall be washed, he shall be put in a coffin, he shall be prayed upon, the prayer of the deceased. All of these shall be given to a person. So the violation of human rights is always a concern and shall stay as a concern, and we as Muslims are supposed to be the first ones to defend human rights according to the Islamic law and system, and at the same time be the first ones to put them to practice. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
يا واسع العفو